Welcome to California, the most expensive state in the USA and one of the largest. However, you'd be forgiven to think that we're just here to show off the US. We are here to tell stories of amazing people like Chris Washira, an incredible woman whose story is one of resilience and determination. Eventually, she became the first Black woman to own a winery in San Francisco Bay Area in the state of California. Remember, the most expensive state in the United States of America. Guys, so we are walking. I've been wanting to do this. We are walking in the streets. Obviously, this area is called what? Alameda. It's in Napa area. Bay Area. I'm sorry. I've been told that so many times, but I keep confusing. Let me just stand in the sun because the breeze here is just a lot. And then it's making me feel cold in spite of the sun being outside. I don't like feeling cold. So, yeah. And it's really beautiful. It's a beautiful place. And this is the area where we have the Kenyan owned winery. Look at me claiming it as if it's mine. It's owned by a Kenyan woman, and I'm a Kenyan woman, and she inspires me. So it's actually hot, but then the breeze is making me feel cold, and I don't like it, guys. I don't like it. Actually, I'll carry my coat. And that's the thing, when you come to California, don't come with light clothes. Carry your jumper, carry your hood, long sleeves, because in spite of the sun being out, you're gonna feel really, really chilly. And yeah, that's one of the characteristics of California. And here in California, I've come across very many buildings, houses with the American flag. I was told it's because they are just patriotic people. Even personal houses, that is probably commercial building, but you get even personal houses with the American flag. And I'm like, this, you can't see this in Kenya. You know why? Because there are restrictions. They'll tell you that only government officials are allowed to use the flag, only the president. But here, anyone is allowed to use the flag. So you see patriotic Americans with flags all over their buildings. What do you think about that? Do you think they should allow Kenyans to use our flag, so we can also put our Kenyan flags all over however we wish? Let's have a conversation below. Guys, look at this Kenyan filming a Kenyan. This is a Kenyan from Homa Bay. If you're from Homa Bay, drop a comment.
Shout out to Homa Bay, HB. Everyone from HB.
And your campus was? Oh, Jalas is from Homa Bay.
Jalas is from Homa Bay.
Homa Bay is in Siaya.
No, you need to know Kenya. Homa Bay is not in Siaya.
Where is Homa Bay?
Homa Bay is south of Nyanza, next to Suba. Okay. But it's not in...
I was saying that because I'm from Siaya. I was hoping to claim that too, but it's okay. So, which university did you go to?
I went to Egerton University.
Yes, so shout out if you're watching from Egerton. I know
Joro campus. Everyone from Nakuru.
Nakuru, yeah? I also went to Nakuru in high school.
No, Joro, I mean...
I went to Shena's Girls. You know Shena's Girls, Nakuru?
I don't know.
Well, so we're a popular school. I don't know how you don't know, but it's okay. So we are heading back. We're going to the winery owned by a Kenyan. It's really nice because you see most of these businesses here are obviously owned by Americans. So when a Kenyan does something like this, it's incredible. Welcome to Alameda. Welcome to Caribou. It's the first Black woman-owned winery tasting room in Alameda County and the greater San Francisco Bay Area. Welcome. Guys, you know what I love most about this story is the fact that this woman has gone on to defy the odds. Do you know that winery is a huge industry in the United States, but only a third of the industry is owned by black people? And do you know that this part of California was an area where black people were not allowed to come out, particularly after a particular time? But this woman has come and she has defied the odds and she has opened a winery as a black woman from Kenya. This is amazing. This is inspiring. This goes to show that nothing is impossible. If you have a dream, go ahead and chase it. Go ahead and work for it because you can achieve it. Let's go in. Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm Trudy. What's your name?
My name is Dr. Chris Wachira. I'm the winemaker at Wachira Wines, and I'm also the founder and CEO of the company, of the Wachira Group.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are a doctor, yet you are in wine.
Yes, because wine has a lot of science. It has art in it because it allows you to be creative in how you craft the wines. But it also has a lot of science in how you blend the wines. So it's actually science. So two things brought me into winemaking: science, my love of science, and a curiosity for the science of winemaking, and a desire to craft wines that I paired with my mother's cooking.
Okay, so before we talk about the wine, who are you? How would you describe yourself?
It depends on the context. So I'm a lot of different things. Again, my background is in healthcare. I am a mother, I am a sister, I'm a daughter, I'm a winemaker. I am a philanthropist and I am an entrepreneur. I am a woman who's extremely passionate about equity and access. That's me.
How long have you been in the United States?
How long has it been? It's over 20 years, let me say that. I came in the late 90s, so...
Really?
Yeah. So
have you been back?
Absolutely. I was just there in March.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you think?
About what? I love my country. It actually broke my heart. I hadn't been back since 2019, pre-pandemic. And so it was very exciting for me to be able to get back, to finally go back. I came with my husband and my mother. I love my country. I love, there's a heartbeat in Kenya. There's a rhythm. There's a balance that it gives back to me that I can't find here.
Okay.
And so every now and then when I feel depleted, I like to travel home, reconnect, center, and then come back. Sort of remind myself who I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have so many Kenyans who'd like to come to the United States. What would your advice for them be?
That's a really good question. So the US is fascinating in a lot of different ways. There's a tremendous opportunity, right? And it allows you to recreate and reinvent yourself over and over again because there's a lot of opportunity. That being said, there's also a lot of work, investment of self and time and money that you need to put into actualizing yourself. So it's not as easy as it seems in, say, for example, music videos or the movies and all that good stuff. It's not. But it is doable.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say have a plan for one. First of all, know who you are because that's going to be tested over and over again, and that's a great source of strength when things get really tough, and things can get tough really fast. So know who you are and then have a plan, have a goal before you get on that flight.
Okay. So you moved to the US 20 years ago. Was it hard at all?
Absolutely. I won't call it hard as such. Actually, I'll take that word back. It's not hard, it's challenging because it's different. It's a completely different culture. It's a different way of thinking. It's very fast paced, like home. And you have to learn everything. You have to learn something as simple as, like if you're going to take the bus or you're going to drive, like how to navigate the roads, how to navigate transportation, the banking system, education system. You have to learn everything from scratch. So it was challenging, and because of those challenges, then it can be considered hard, but it's doable.
Okay, so did you move here to study or to work?
To study.
To study.
Yeah, I studied. I started right here in Alameda. There's a community college called College of Alameda, and I started my education there. Did my associate degrees. You started my AAs, is what they do in community colleges. And I transferred to San Francisco. And then I went to Stanford, and then back to San Francisco for my terminal degree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then how did you start falling in love with the wine? And where did you get the idea of doing this?
With the wine, wine is, the same way folks have a cocktail or a glass of, I don't know, gin and tonic or whatever. So we started having glasses of wine, like at the end of the week, at the end of the day. And then on the weekend, we'd go to wine country. We always do like a trip to wine country for a weekend, like visit wine country, try and visit different vineyards. So that is what got me actually made it in that culture.
So here you are into wine. Where do you start? How do you sit down and decide, I want to start doing this? I want to start making my own wine. I'm going to call it this. This person is going to supply me,
when I, the point of jump, so I had this idea in the back of my mind, like after visiting Napa Valley and all that good stuff for a while, I talked to my girlfriends about opening a wine bar in Nairobi. And this was back in the day. But then the logistics of operating the wine bar kind of made that a little challenging to execute. And then I started thinking about crafting wines, and the more I visited vineyards and got connected and got to meet folks that are making the wine, the owners of the vineyard, the winemakers themselves. And then people get comfortable, you build relationships, and then I started expressing an interest in the industry. And so folks invited me behind the scenes, I call the kitchen. So they invited me in the back room of their wineries where they actually make the wines. You get to taste from the barrels, and then they teach you start asking questions about how they're doing it. And then I just got fascinated because I'd go to different wineries, and like, for example, the Cabernets would be so different, right? And the grapes could be sourced from the same regions, but they tasted so different. And then I started learning about the winemaker's signature. So I learned, like, each winemaker has a way that they make their wines. And it's because they're either working for, they're using their palate, but they could be targeting demographics, they could be targeting pairings like I do, whatever influences it. And so a lot of that fascinated me. And so then I was like, you know what? I can find wines to bring to the house when I come, go to my mom's for Sunday dinner. Let me start playing with it. So I got juice and I started mixing the juices. And the very first wines that I crafted, I tested on my friends and family. They never made it to market because they were not great. But that lit a fire in me when it actually confirmed that this is actually doable.
Wow. Clearly it is doable, and I'm so inspired to be here. As someone who comes from a different continent and you come to the US and you start a successful business, what's the secret? What would you say has been
I don't know that there's a secret as such. I think it's drive, it's grit, it's motivation, it's being purpose driven. Like if your purpose is money, I feel like you're going to struggle, right? So my purpose for one was to, again, complement my mother's cooking. So it didn't really matter if the wine sold or not, as long as I was able to complement her cuisine. So we served them at that dinner table around friends and family, and folks loved it. Then I was like, okay, let's make a couple more bottles and do an event in Oakland. And we did that, and folks loved them. So I was like, okay, I think there's something here. Then we came to Kenya and did an official soft launch of Oshiro wines in Nairobi, in Karen. And we served all free wines to like just a group of people, and folks enjoyed the wine. So I was like, okay, that's confirmation. If my people at home actually like and can relate and connect to the products, then we have something here. So then the rest is easy. Her story.
So, where do you get your wine? So where do you get your grapes?
But I source them, so I have multi-year contracts with farmers in Napa, Loda, and Paso Robles. And I picked the 3 different regions because they're very different in terms of the terroir, the soil, the minerality in the soil, the weather components. So the grapes are pretty different. So like, for example, the Cabernet that we'll taste, it has grapes from all 3 regions. Some of the wines have grapes from just one region, others have 2. But I source from those 3 regions to make sort of that complementary, well-balanced, well-rounded flavor profile.
Okay. So do you get them from the farm and ferment them yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, we do. I source them from folks who have vines, and a lot of farmers do that. A lot of vineyards do that. They have so they'll craft like an estate varietal, and then they have a lot of leftover grapes that they sell to makers like myself. I think farming is a completely different animal. There's a part of the industry that I'm still a little bit gingerly about, stepping into a little nervously about, but I love the production part of it. I love the community aspect of it, the service part of the winery. And so I choose to source the grapes as of right now. So I source them, we crush them, we ferment them, we blend them. And then by blend, I mean we get juices from 3 different places, and then we craft them into our signature wines.
About how long is the process from getting the grapes to the farm to, having them in a cup like this?
Okay, so it depends. So like the Cabernet are only aged for 8 months. So we harvest, we crush, we barrel for 8 months, we taste and make sure that until it hits that flavor profile that I'm looking for, and then we bottle. So yeah, so each of them depends. So the Cabernet, for example, is 8 months. The Zinfandel is 13. And that's why making wine is such a capital-intensive type of industry. Because if you think about it, you've spent money to buy the grapes. You're paying for storage facilities for the barrels, while the wine is aging. For those, so from harvest to, say, for example, the Cabernet to month 9, you really don't have a product. It's money sitting in a barrel. So and that's what makes it a little bit more challenging for folks that come into the industry, especially folks of color, because a lot of us don't come from like a whole wealthy background. We are all self-starters. We're all small businesses.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean you're not from a wealthy background? Because I'm sure many of the viewers are watching and they're like, oh,
No, I'm not. I came to this country with $500.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
$500 in a dream.
Wow, that's deep. I know guys are inspired just by that statement.
So yeah, so it's again, that's why I said make sure you know who you are, make sure you have a plan.
Oh wow. Now you see what you said, it just hit me. I'm trying to internalize and think of the next question at the same time. So do you think it's worth it at the end of the day?
What?
This business, because
it absolutely is. It absolutely is, and I tell you why. It's worth it in the sense that, for one, it gives me as a Kenyan the ability to speak about my heritage. It gives my family a legacy. It allows others who are looking in to see themselves reflected. Again, the wine industry in the US is a $5 billion industry last year. Black folks, or folks of color, African Americans, we are 0.1% of that industry. So being present in that industry allows others to see themselves reflected and to see it as a possibility. So it's absolutely worth it.
So each type has a different animal on it. Yeah. And there are animals found in Africa and out of Africa.
Wow. I say they're Kenyan. Because I'm Kenyan.
Okay.
It's my Kenyan wine safari. So each of the black label has one of the big 5 of the Kenyan safari on the bottom. And then the rosé has the Impala. The rosé is the only one that's not on the big 5.
Why did you get the idea? Why did you say to put the animals and not anything else?
Well, for one, because I wanted to be authentic to who I am. Right? So I wanted to provide a different kind of experience for my wine consumers. And I also wanted to be able to tell the story of where I'm from, of my heritage, as I serve the wine. Because the wines were, first of all, crafted to pair with my mother's cooking, and my mother's Kenyan. And so I needed to be able to tell that story and tell it in sort of a holistic way.
Okay. So you've got a buffalo.
Yeah, the buffalo for the Chardonnay, got the rhino for the Cabernet, elephant for the Zinfandel, muscat is a leopard, and then the lion is the sparkling wine.
So what is the one wine you would recommend to anyone?
So my preference right now is our sparkling, topped with a little bit of our Cabernet, and that creates a sparkling rosé.
Okay.
So that's my favorite right now. It kind of ebbs and flows. So when it's nice and hot outside, like we're going into the summer now, I recommend the muscat because it's really light and very refreshing, or the Chardonnay. In the winter months, our rosé, which is a year-round rosé, it's really, really good in the winter, but also our Zinfandel, which is nice and big and bold.
Thank you for representing Kenya. I appreciate it. That's amazing. Just walking in the streets of California and stopping and seeing Karibu, it feels like, oh my gosh, you get excited because you feel at home.
I like that.
Amazing.
I'm glad. Yes.
Okay. So what is one thing you'd like people to know about wine that they probably don't know?
Okay. My personal philosophy of wine tasting, and that's what my staff and everybody in this space, the tasting room, embody, is there's no sort of standard palate. There's no standard. We never tell anybody what to expect out of the wines because every palate is so unique and every palate is so individualized, right? So I give myself as an example. I didn't grow up around grapes. I didn't grow up around vineyards. And so when I moved to this country and I go to Napa Valley and they're trying to explain a red wine, the notes in a red wine, and using characteristics like saddle leather or let me see, like boysenberry, something like that, like stuff I've never tasted. I can look for that note all night and I will never find it because I've never experienced it. So I like folks to understand or to just be comfortable in themselves with their palates and experience wine without prejudging yourself. Don't feel like you're a novice because everybody really is, because all palates are so different. Right? And I don't think there's anybody on this planet that has tasted every single variety of wine, okay? Or every wine that has been crafted. So we are all novices in a way, when it comes to wine. So just don't be intimidated by wine tasting. Don't be intimidated by wine culture. I'm very counter wine culture in the sense of exclusivity. I like it to be more open, more welcoming, more inclusive. And that's why I really don't tell folks what notes to expect from the products.
Okay. What is one advice you'd give a Kenyan girl who is watching this video and she feels very inspired by your story, or someone who has just bumped into this video? What is one advice?
Generally about what? The industry or life in general? Following your dreams, I would say go for it. First thing is, you have that dream, put it down until at least for me, until I can see it. Either write it down, take a picture of whatever it is that you're envisioning. If it's a home, you want to be your first time home, whatever the dream is. Just have something that you can reference. Whether it's writing, whether it's a note, if it's musical, whatever it is. Just set down so you can reference it and then do the work. Right? So if it's you want to come into the wine industry, do your research. What segment of the industry do you want to come in at? What kind of wines do you want to present? What does it entail? What are the legalities? Because there are two aspects to the wine industry. There's actually the winemaking and then there's the business of wine. The business of wine has a lot of legality that goes into it. So do your homework. Yeah.
Do you ship across the world?
I ship across the country to in the US. I have friends that I ship to in Kenya, so private customers. And I ship to Japan and Canada.
So if there's someone watching and they're interested in your wine, how can they contact you?
So you go to wachirawines.com online, or you can go to cariboulounge.com and you'll be able to order there as well. Follow us on Instagram, it's Wachira Wines, and then on Facebook, it's the same thing, Wachira Wines.
I am so inspired. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed the video. I hope you are inspired as much as I am. Stay tuned in for more.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure meeting you. It really is.
Guys, do you know that California is the most expensive city in the United States of America? So owning a winery like this is not something easy, but it's clearly achievable, and that's why I have so much respect for this Kenyan woman who is doing amazing in the US. I'm so proud of her. And do you know one thing? Years ago, black people are not allowed to come out in this particular state of the US. But for her to come on and change everything, and now she has become the first black woman to own a winery in this part of the US. It's just incredible. I hope you are inspired. I am blown away. I'm speechless. I hope this video inspires you as much as it has inspired me, and I hope you believe that truly nothing is impossible.